I kept track of my first 50 in-game days in Pokemon Scarlet, and I had 3 goals: beat the main story, complete the Pokedex, and catch at least one shiny. Day 1 began as most Pokemon playthroughs do. Conversations at home, well, Pokemon continues the trend of your mom being hot, meeting the starters in Rival, and picking my starter. I chose Quaxly since it's my favorite of the base form starters, plus while Skeledirge is my favorite of the final forms, I was set on using Armarouge, so that would be an overlap. I caught some early Pokemon before meeting Koraidon and immediately loving it. Meeting and befriending the legendary early, not to mention it being one with a ton of personality, makes me care so much more about the legendary than in any other game. Before long, I met Arvin, who I immediately disliked because of his bad attitude.
And why are you being so insulting to our friendly lizard friend?
Then caught Paldean Wooper and named it Brownie. I soon arrived in Mesagoza, fought off Team Star, explored the school, and eventually received the 3 main plot quests. Professor Sada told me to hang on to Koraidon, and then I slept. Day 1 is the longest day of the 50 because the day and night cycle doesn't start until you're let loose with Koraidon. Additionally, at the end of day 1, there's this animation that shows multiple days passing, but I'm not counting those toward the 50. If I can't play during them, then they don't count. Day 2 was the first truly free day, with access to Koraidon and as much of the map as I could get to. I caught a Knackley and a Charcadet I named Sodio and Vulcan, respectively, and during this exploration, I accidentally stumbled upon the Titan Cloth. Oh, wait! I decided to go ahead and fight it, and it was a fight that I won. Let's go! Much of day 3 was spent trying to physically get to a mass outbreak, something I hadn't experienced yet, that I couldn't figure out how to get to. Wow, that is so much farther than I thought it was. I also caught a Wattrel named Plummet that unfortunately would not obey me, so I decided to fight my first gym leader, Brassius. The puzzle was torture, due to an already annoying Sunflora battle taking twice as long due to the game running at half speed. You're against me, and the frame rate is struggling. And the battle was a bit tricky since my 2 Pokemon good against grass had poor stats. Oh boy. I was able to pull out the win though, albeit using some potions. On day 4, I journeyed west of Mesagoza, where Brownie evolved into the lovable Clodsire. That's like a significant base stat total increase, right? What is Clodsire's base stat total? Unfortunately, this is when I discovered its base stat total was 430, not the 530 I thought it was, which was too low for my taste and meant I planned to swap it out at some point. That's devastating. I defeated Katie, the bug gym leader, with ease. My tiny guys won! Then caught a Mankey. I made my way to the Titan Bombardier, which Plummet defeated easily. Then Arvin revealed the reason he was so motivated to find this Herba Mystica, to cure his injured Mabostiff. Oh no, is this a sick dog story? I was not expecting the gut punch of feels. And with that one scene, Arvin went from being an annoying jerk to my top priority. Just like how subscribing to my channel should be your top priority. On day 5, I found some Bronzor and started farming their fragments, knowing I needed them to evolve Charcadet. And before you comment, no, I did not auto-battle them. It was the first day the game was out. I'm new to this, it just didn't occur to me, okay? Once I got the fragments, I began the journey to Zapapico, a trek I now felt was possible since Koraidon could swim. It might have been doable before Koraidon could swim, but I didn't figure out how. Once there, I traded in the fragments, got the auspicious armor, and evolved Vulcan the Charcadet into Armarouge. Armarouge! Instantly taking it from the weakest member of my team to the strongest. This is about the end of real life day 1, launch day, and I was already hearing about people in my life getting shiny Pokemon. My girlfriend got a shiny Hoppip before having a single badge, and another friend of mine got a shiny Pawmi less than an hour into starting the game. I was, of course, envious, but I wasn't concerned. I definitely had the shiny gods' favor. They gifted me with a shiny Yungoos an hour into Sun, and a shiny Venonat before Gym 2 in Let's Go. Surely the fortune would pass on to me soon. Much of day 6 was spent on the nearby Varoom outbreak, hoping to find a shiny like my friends. I did not. I don't have a shiny of you yet, but the auto battling I did got my team enough experience to evolve Sodio into Knacklestack and Plummet into Kilowattrel. I then tried to reach the normal gym, thinking it was the next one I should go for, but couldn't figure out how to get past Cascarafa's big walls. There's just so much climbing. I now know you can get around them by going into the desert, and then there's like a walkway, you can get into a road, and then it goes there. I know that now. I didn't know that then. I thought I had to be able to climb, so I gave up.
Haha, it is I, Grunty Boy.
Hey man, are you okay?
I have been offended. So you know about Raid Shadow Legends, right? The sponsor of this video? The incredibly awesome free-to-play RPG on mobile and PC, where you can command over 600 champions in epic battles for the fate of Teleria?
Of course I know about Raid.
Well, get this! They just released a legendary champion based off MMA and pro wrestling legend Ronda Rousey. Raid's version of Ronda earned notoriety by defeating dragons, ice golems, and any opponent that took her on until she became the queen of the arena, all of which she accomplished by fighting with just her bare fists. Raid players can get her simply by logging into Raid for 7 days between now and February 20th.
That sounds really cool. Why do you seem upset about it?
Oh, it's extremely cool. I'm upset because they haven't asked me to be a champion yet.
I feel like that would have to be some kind of copyright problem.
I don't want to hear it, but I do want to hear the Raid news from me. This month, Raid is adding a ton. A new dungeon, Artifact Ascension, the Sand Devil's Necropolis, Holiday Champions, and more. Plus, you can use code RAIDRONDA to get all kinds of goodies, and if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can get your exclusive rewards in Raid now. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen to download Raid today. New players will get a free starter pack worth almost $30, including a free champion Vergis and this cool in-game loot. You'll find rewards here for 30 days only.
Well, Grunty Boy, you've done great as always, and hey, maybe Raid will make you a champion someday, but you'd probably have to quit Team Rocket.
Quit Team Rocket? As if I can't have my name not make sense, ta-ta!
I went to fight the Titan Earthworm, which Vulcan absolutely destroyed. Day 7 was another day spent trying to reach a gym leader that I thought I should fight next, Grusha. I didn't look up any suggested orders or levels until much later in the playthrough, and the in-game map gave me no indication that Grusha was the highest level gym leader. It didn't end up mattering though, since I couldn't figure out how to get up the mountain.
I am beginning to feel like I'm not supposed to get to Grusha till I can climb.
So I opted to fight Iono. After battling Nimona first, I defeated Iono with just Brownie.
I beat you, streamer girl.
Day 8 began with heading into Tag Tree Thicket, or as I like to call it, Lag Tree Thicket, to find Toadskool, a ground type I was interested in using to replace Brownie. I eventually found one and promptly evolved it. Ooh, Toadskool! Adding Agari the Toadskool to my team. I then took on my first Team Star Camp, the Fire one, and beat it with ease.
She's shaking my hand so hard that it hurts.
Eager to get the climbing ability, I raced to the desert.
There's some brambling along.
Shocked to find that the next Titan was a Great Tusk. Oh, what the heck? And then I proceeded to have my booty handed to me upon fine china.
Well, that was a jump.
That stung, but another sting I received around the same time was that my girlfriend had caught yet another shiny. A shiny Skiddo less than 24 hours after catching her Hoppip. Additionally, John, aka PM7, my rival in the John Michael Cup, caught his first shiny on this IRL day, a Magikarp. This was a bit hard to swallow, but it was only the second real-life day of the game being out. There were plenty of other people who hadn't gotten a shiny yet. I knew the shiny gods had anointed me in the past and would surely do so again. All would be well. Day 9 was a short day due to an odd phenomenon Scarlet and Violet do. Sometimes, but only sometimes, when you close the software and reopen it, it jumps the time forward. So it'll be daytime when you close it, and then it'll be nighttime when you open it back up. I don't know why this happens, and it only happens sometimes. So whenever this did happen, I just said, oh, I guess that part of the day, it just progressed, and I just kind of counted it. I didn't think this was a big deal since it would only ever do half a day at most at a time, and it didn't happen that often. Anyways, day 9 focused on the defeat of the Dark Team Star Camp. One I was surprised to see was weaker than the Fire one.
A friendly handshake that doesn't hurt this time.
And then the trek to Porto Marinada to meet Kofu at the auctions.
Vulcan Veluza, my wallet!
After that exchange, I returned to Cascarafa to battle him, a battle which started day 10. Having a water gym battle in a sandstorm was super cool.
There is a sandstorm active, that's wild.
And Plummet beat him easily. Yes! I then began the trek to Medali.
I prefer the indoors. Then, sir, what are you doing out here?
And on the way, the Mankey, now a Primeape named Wraith, learned Rage Fist.
Rage Fist.
I promptly KO'd 20 Flittle with the move, and thus caused its evolution into Annihilate.
Annihilate. Ooh, spooky.
I then fought Larry, defeating him with a combination of Wraith and Sodio.
And there it is.
Day 11 began with another Nemona battle.
Hey, I found Michael first. You may be like Premier, but you can't go stealing him from me, Nemona.
Are we dating? Which got scary at the end since her Skeledirge was evolved and Duck Duck was still a Quaxwell.
Oh!
I handled it though,
That thing was a monster.
and Duck Duck evolved not long after. I then used it to handily defeat the Titan Great Tusk,
Yes!
shocked to learn that Koraidon could glide before climbing.
Gliding before climbing?
This made me realize high jumping should be enough for most places, so I made my way to Alfornada.
All right, well, I guess I'll just carry on this ramp.
Once there, I realized I wanted to change up my team a bit. I was concerned that I didn't have any answers for dragon types, and then I figured that the new pseudo-legendary Baxcalibur would be a fun way to get those answers. Now that I knew the mountain should be accessible without climbing, I spent literally all of day 12 making my way up there, then climbing all over it in search of a Frigibax.
Where can there be?
Yet, despite all that running around, no shiny appeared. A bit odd, you'd think my blessing would have arrived by now, but I still had 3 gyms and 3 camps and a Titan left, so I was confident my blessing would arrive soon. On day 13, I found the wild, dark terastallizing Frigibax.
I finally found one and it's a Terastal!
A spawn I was not aware of until finding it, and excitedly caught it, naming it Dime as a nod to Dimetrodon. I then took on the Poison Team Star Camp, and Atticus's Shakespearean speech greatly amused me.
Certain moves can poison with a mere graze. Tremble, scoundrel, for thy Pokemon's sake.
I love this guy. He's so ridiculous. On day 14, I could finally afford the power items, so I bought some of them and thought I was EV training my team against a Floatzel outbreak.
This is useful. Like, I'm glad I'm doing this.
But it turns out auto battling doesn't give you EVs, but I didn't learn that until later. I fought and saw countless of them, but still didn't get a shiny. The shiny gods were testing me, but that was fine. I am a true believer and my faith would be rewarded. That same day I fought Rhyme and her ghost gym. Oh, look at him! Winning easily with Wraith and Dark Terastallized Dime. And there it is! This battle unlocked the ability to buy quick balls, so I stocked up on those and spent a good chunk of day 15 exploring areas I hadn't been and catching new Pokemon. I then returned to Alfornada and battled Nemona.
No! She's got her freaking alligator!
Then fought Tulip and her psychic types,
Why are her clothes doing that?
defeating her with multiple of my team members. Part of day 16 was off camera, but it wasn't anything significant, just doing some raids and catching some Pokemon. The rest of the day was some exploring, mainly on the northeastern part of the map, and trying to get Gimme Ghoul coins. I felt I needed something to handle fairies, and with how many coins I was getting from chest form Gimme Ghouls, I thought getting Golden Go quickly would be realistic. I spent the rest of day 16 getting them. What am I doing? I should probably move, before realizing the chest forms don't respawn.
So far, it is unconfirmed if these chest forms respawn on the watchtowers. Oh.
Well, I thought they would respawn. So Golden Go was a golden no. Instead, I just decided to get a Revavroom. Almost all of day 17 was spent just looking for a wild Revavroom and not finding one. Plus the Dunsparce raid that was very frustrating and took multiple attempts.
Oh, we're so close!
Oh, come on! On day 18, I decided to just get a Varoom, so I caught one and named it Nitro, then evolved it. I then tried to EV train it on a mass outbreak of Glimmet before finally learning auto battles don't give EVs. And also, still not finding a shiny. I'm fine. Day 19 and the first chunk of day 20 were off camera. Sorry to do this, but like I said, nothing of significance happened. I just did some raids and caught some Pokemon and wanted some time to relax and not commentate while I played. The latter half of day 20 saw me finally face Grusha, and Vulcan KO'd most of his team while Nitro finished him off.
I won, yay!
On day 21, I fought the final Titan, gaining the climbing ability and saving Arven's beloved Mabostef.
God.
After minting some of my team's natures and giving them better held items, I headed to the Fairy Team Star Camp and beat it with Nitro.
Way to go, Nitro!
On day 22, I felt confident and marched my way to the Fighting Team Star Camp, but their leader, Aerie, proved too tough and I lost.
Yep, I lose.
I could have won if I had used potions, but she didn't use them and I wanted to be honorable. That was not the only loss that day though. My editor Katie, one of the few people in my circle who was with me in the no shiny camp, got her first one. A Buizel, not even in an outbreak. The same day, my girlfriend's brother was visiting and started his Violet playthrough and got a shiny Tarantula less than an hour after starting. I had one Team Star camp left and had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. I began to doubt that I had been truly anointed by the shiny gods. It was weighing on my soul, but it is in times of our greatest struggles that we see the greatest growth. And my last name is Growth, which meant the greatness would surely be here soon. After spending the rest of day 22 training and exploring and evolving Dime into its final form, Excalibur! I got my revenge on Aerie. Let's go! I felt unequipped to take on the next steps though, so for the rest of day 23 and the first half of day 24, I explored and trained. I then noticed I had a Finizen outbreak, so I pulled out the Cove and wiped out the entire outbreak, still with no shiny to be seen. This was before I learned about the picnic method, where you set up a picnic to clear out all of the spawns without destroying the outbreak, but still, I intentionally shiny hunted and got nothing. On day 25, I finally took on Arvin at the Lighthouse Lab. You're battling with the one who's hurt? And despite his Pokemon being higher level than me, I was able to defeat him and close out the Path of Legends. Oh, I feel bad about hurting the dog. This scared me of the Elite Four though, so I experienced Candy trained up, minted some natures, and spent a chunk of time beating enough trainers to get the Earthquake TM for Dime, which I then deleted on day 26 because I realized I wanted Dragon Dance instead. I also got the loaded dice, since I realized with that, its Icicle Spear became very powerful. The next thing I did was challenge the Elite Four, but since that was indoors, I don't know at what point it crossed over from day 26 to day 27, but I know that it did. The day and night cycle is 72 minutes, and based on the time of the raw recording, I know that I spent that much time in there. The Elite Four were a breeze though. Dime, Dragon Dance, Icicle Spear swept most of them, with the exception of Poppy, since I didn't have Earthquake. A sweep from Dime, the Baxcalibur! Sometime during the day on day 27, I stepped outside to fight Geeta. I need to Geet a victory. We're on the roof. I fought the battle set style and won with only one Pokemon fainting. Oh, that went great! Afterwards, I had a thrilling battle with Nimona, fighting set style and her KOing half my team, but I pulled out the win and completed Victory Road. And now she's laughing. Okay, this is cute. Finally, I fought Director Clavel, then Penny, winning easily both times and completing the surprisingly heartwarming Starfall Street plot. Misfits finding community. The 3 main plot lines done, and no shiny still. On day 28, I received the Way Home plot, but instead of heading to it right away, I took a bunch of history classes with Rayford to learn the lore behind the ruined legendaries. On day 29, I made my way toward Area 0 and began the descent into it. Despite Area 0 being open air, it functions like it's indoors, looking the same regardless of the time of day, which is odd, but that's how it is. So I don't know exactly at what point it crossed over from day 29 to day 30, but I know that it did, because I know how long the day and night cycle is, and I was in there for a while. This part of the story was masterful though. The characters got so much more depth. Oh, is it time for the backstory reveal? And the descent truly felt like a descent into something horrifying. Oh, look at me, I'm a surfer! Getting more uneasy the further down you went.
Hello, child. Children and children. Is she an AI?
The twists and turns genuinely caught me off guard. The real Professor. And the final battles were epic. Oh! I defeated AI Sada mainly with Dime, and the Koraidon face-off felt like a fun interactive cutscene.
Come on, buddy!
When it ended, I felt satisfaction for completing one of my goals, but also disbelief at how amazing it was and at the emotional impact it left on me.
Oh, and Arvin, oh my God, Arvin. And it's just like, it hits my emotions too, you know? Like, cause I lost a parent, and he kind of like I said, it's like he lost her twice.
Still didn't have a shiny though. The credits rolled.
Oh, this is Ed Sheeran.
On a lusterless me. Meanwhile, Katie and PM7 had begun a flood of shinies in their games, while I was left in the dry, barren desert, alone. I was determined to find my way out though, so I picnic method outbreak hunted on a Tadbulb outbreak for the rest of day 30 and into day 31, only to give up.
Okay. Time to move on.
because they're just so small. And they barely change. Like, that's so easy to miss. I spent the rest of day 31 returning to Area 0 to catch all the Paradox Pokemon and hoping for a shiny one, but had no luck on the shiny front. On day 32, I ran around a lot, checking outbreaks and catching Pokemon for the Pokedex, and hoping in vain a shiny would randomly appear. Days 33 to 35 were spent getting the stakes 4, then battling and catching all 4 Ruin Legendaries. I traveled stake to stake on the ground, hoping for a random shiny on the way, yet still, my cup runneth dry. For the latter half of day 35 and into day 36, I rematched all of the gym leaders. Having someone as popular as you on my stream was a great idea. I'm trending like the internet's mad at me. Before finishing day 36 with victory in the Academy Ace Tournament.
Boom, and it's over.
Then, on the morning of day 37, I caught the second Koraidon.
Yes!
And had a breakdown. Over 36 in-game days, the entire main story, all of the Paradox Pokemon and Legendaries, all of the post-game plot, all complete, and not a single shiny. In the game where it's supposedly the easiest to find shinies in all of Pokemon history, the shiny gods had forsaken me! But the gods miscalculated. I'm not one to wallow in self-pity. You cast me aside, and I proved myself more powerful than you ever imagined. I knew that if I was gonna get the shiny I deserved, I would have to force it out of the gods. And force I intended to use. No more shiny hunting. That is, until I claimed the talisman that the gods fear the most. The shiny charm. Days 37 through 42 were exclusively spent working on completing my Pokedex. There's no need to spell out for you everything I caught on what day, but one thing stood out. I'm convinced Wild Slackoth is a myth. That was like an entire day just looking for one, couldn't find one, had to breed one. Ridiculous. During all this time, I did not find a shiny, but I knew I wouldn't. Like I said, I was going to have to claw one out of the shiny god's clutches. At the end of day 42, I had almost every Pokemon outside the version exclusives and trade evolutions, so I began a lot of trading with my girlfriend Trinity. These trades continued into day 43, but then we decided instead of waiting for her to catch the Violet exclusives she didn't yet have, specifically some of the Paradox Pokemon plus Passimian, we'd simply go into Area 0 together. She was oddly invisible the whole time, but the method worked. For the rest of day 43 and into day 44, I caught all of the Violet Paradox Pokemon. During that though, I thought I had finally found the shiny I so deserved, but...
Is that a shiny?
Yeah. So.
No way!
Yeah, I just saved right now because I was...
Wait, who gets it?
I don't know who gets it, babe.
Who gets the shiny?
Do you want it? Like, you haven't caught one yet. I've at least had 2 shinies, but do you want this to be your shiny, that the first one you catch?
Yeah?
Go for it. Do it, babe. Get that shiny.
Oh, wait. I don't think it's a shiny. I think it's just dead.
No, it has to be a shiny.
No, it's not.
How is it just dead?
I don't know. It's just not turned on.
Man, how dare it?
'Twas nothing but a taunt. That's fine. Play your games, gods. We'll see who will be laughing at the end. After getting the Paradox Pokemon, the morning of day 44 was getting me a shell gun. She'd already given me a Bagon, but I was really low on experience candy. And then looking for a Passimian. After an outrageous amount of time, I realized the spawns favored the host, which explained why it took far longer for Iron Valiant to show up than Roaring Moon. So we ended the connection and she found one quickly afterwards. Then she traded me the Passimian, the final Pokemon for my dex. There it is, finally! Now it was time for the gods to fall. I tried to hunt Bombardier, but the outbreak was strange and spawning very few Pokemon. So I moved on to Gogoat, the glorious creature resurrected for the first time in almost a decade. For the rest of day 44, I hunted it, and then on the morning of day 45, my golden goat arrived. Yes! Finally! Gogoat! The drought was finally over. And when it rains, it pours. On the same day as my golden goat, I caught a shiny Finizen. Oh, let's go! Let's friggin' go! And a shiny Rufflet. Oh man, you were barely noticeable.
3 shinies in one day, obtained by me and only me. I had defied the gods that had defied me and slain them in the process. Because after all, what is a god to a non-believer?
Sorry. I felt a lot better after that happened, though. On my birthday, too, so that was fun. So on day 45, I completed my final goal of catching a shiny Pokemon. But I still had 5 days left. So I decided to try for some stretch goals, beat a 6-star raid, and catch a shiny outside of an outbreak. In order to accomplish these goals, I needed a Pokemon that was good at 5-star raids, which is something I didn't have. I needed this because I had to beat enough 5-star raids to unlock 6-star raids, and also, that's how you get Herba Mystica. Inspired by Katie, I opted to train up the second Koraidon. I would have trained up the original one, but it's so annoying. You change it to battle mode and then you press plus to ride on it and then it's like out of battle mode. It's very annoying. On day 46, I EV trained Koraidon in attack and HP, conveniently against neighboring outbreaks of Dreadnought and Slowpoke. Then for the rest of that day and into day 47, I did a bunch of 5-star raids with Katie, getting enough candy to get Koraidon to level 100 and unlocking 6-star raids in the process. For the latter half of day 47, I made a dark shiny boosting sandwich and hunted in Area 0. But despite having Brute Bonnet everywhere and seeing several Roaring Moons, I did not find a shiny. On day 48, I took on 6-star raids in other people's games and defeated both a normal Goodra and Rock Flareon, completing that stretch goal. I then decided to randomly run around Area 0 without a sandwich boost and found a shiny Zweilous. Oh my god! Let's go! Weird that it didn't show up during the dark sandwich, but whatever. So that meant my stretch goals were already done. So I set one more: catch a shiny Paradox Pokemon. On day 49, Katie was kind enough to use her resources to make a fighting boosting sandwich in the Union Circle, thus sharing the boosts with me. I then spent much of that day hunting for a shiny Great Tusk amongst the overwhelming herd, and finally found one with 6 minutes left on the timer. Yes! All that was left was day 50, all my goals achieved. So I decided I would help out others, spending the day catching a bunch of the Scarlet Paradox Pokemon, then spending the night surprise trading them away. I then watched the sunrise on day 51, my journey complete. And of course, I got my first shiny while not intentionally hunting, literally 15 minutes after stopping the recording. So maybe I didn't slay the shiny gods, maybe I just wounded them for a time. Then they came back with a strange sense of humor.